So at the start now for a heat of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup. It's a women's junior quads event. We have St Edward's School on the Berkshire station and Reading Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station. Now obviously quads is an event you spoke about earlier. The importance obviously going off the start, Tom, that kind of steering as you're alongside the island. Any tips or things that you've seen from what you just saw as they went off the start there?
Yeah, I think both crews had pretty good lines actually, and you're totally right, Mark. The steering is absolutely crucial when you're in a cocktails boat. You haven't got somebody who's responsible for that who isn't also rowing. So it falls on the head of an athlete, which makes it doubly difficult. But at the moment, it looks like Teddies have control of this in the early stages, a length out. Just a word on the Diamond Jubilee. I mean, it's about 9 years old now. I think the first edition was in 2012. And what a fantastic event it is. And it's really elevated the quality of schoolboat sculling. You can see here, Teddy's now well in control of this.
Yeah, they've really moved out in that kind of middle section of the race there, St Edward's. And obviously the number of entries has gone up as well in this particular event, which has been great. You know, we talked about, it started off, you know, I think it was 8, then it went to 16, now it's 24. So that progression in the event, and how much, you know, how much young talent we have at the event now.
And sat here watching on the Wednesday, you forget that there have been crews who turned up last Saturday at Dorney Lake to try and qualify and didn't make it. So the depth and the competitiveness of this junior girls sculling event is incredible. And every year it's oversubscribed pretty much. And you can see here why, because there's crews of this pedigree racing. I mean, this Teddy's crew were sort of semi-finalists at Henley Women's Regatta in the junior quad, 6th at Marlow in J18 quads, and 9th at the National School. So within the top 10 junior girls quads in the country, which is showing quite clearly here in their sort of almost annihilation of Reading at this point.
And that's going to be really interesting. They progress through the event if they make it through to the following day, obviously after tomorrow, because they'll be back tomorrow if they maintain this margin they have now. Is how they progress through. And obviously, you know, we talked about form guide, but because it's been such a disrupted season, you know, what have crews been able to do in the last couple of weeks as they move into the regatta? Yeah,
that's exactly it. And I think I'd love your view on this actually, Mark. Winning a race by this margin, and you can see here Teddy's now several lengths of clear water in front. Does that ever breed complacency, do you think? Do you ever come into the next day thinking, okay, well, we've absolutely dominated that heat, this might happen again tomorrow?
No, definitely not. As you progress through an event, you expect it to get tighter, harder, because as you move through, obviously the winning crews are the better crews, because they've won, obviously. And sometimes I always got worried if I had an easy race. I felt that I was too soft, where those kind of gut-buster races to the line really kind of toughen you up and get you ready. But obviously it's whether you can do those back-to-back days. But, you know, with this particular race, they're kind of in front. It does give you a chance to just go through the processes, because you'd have done loads of kind of rehearsals, going over the track, going through your race calls. It's just putting things in place in a live experience of actually racing, which, you know, you don't get a lot of opportunities, obviously, because the crews only arrived on the course on Monday, so they've only been training since Monday. So this is invaluable time that they can really start to ingrain those calls or those moves, or just understanding where the markers are, because if you're new to any regatta, sometimes these markers are very different to what you're used to racing with.
Yeah, it's almost a psychological versus physiological toss-up. Between psychologically, the benefit of racing right to the line is, like you say, invaluable. But physiologically, 5 days of having very tight racing probably begins to burn on the legs right by the Sunday.
Because I remember when I first raced at Henley, the only marker I knew about was falling. That was all I paid attention to. I knew that was halfway. And then from there, it was downhill. That's why I looked at it.
That might be because you were a couple of lengths up at that point.
But as you see, St Edward's there just bringing down their rate as they move along the Stewart's enclosure. It's a great start to the regatta for Teddy's. I'm sure the director of rowing there, Adam Moffat, will be super pleased with these young ladies making their way through to Thursday. And we have Reading Rowing Club making their way to the finish line now. So that was a win for St Edward's School in the heat of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup over Reading Rowing Club.